my third little boy, I desperately wanted to be home with my kids. And so I started brainstorming different ideas on how I could make that happen. And one of them was to develop a dental supplement because there's tons of research out there pointing in the direction of gut health linking to gum disease. It's not just pointing, it is. It's evidence-based, it's there. And so I knew that was a great avenue for me. And I just desperately wanted to be with my kids. So I started making phone calls, figuring out that it was not easy whatsoever to develop a supplement that was clean, no synthetics, I mean, that checked all of these amazing boxes, and that I would feel good about giving my patients. And so I just started talking around, and I actually ended up talking to Dr. Stephanie Mohan, who you'll hear from here shortly. But she introduced me to a lady who already knew about 3. And when I sat there and I listened to what this company was all about, I knew that God just put me in the right place at the right time to be hearing about this, because now it's a year and a half later and I'm here sitting on an amazing call with everyone and just feeling super, super honored and blessed to be here. So it's not only blessed my life with 3 products, like the way I feel inside has been so amazing for me because my kids run me ragged. I'm going to be 40 years old in just a couple months. And I just didn't have the energy with my littles. I would wake up in the morning and I just felt completely depleted. I wanted to be with my kids every day, but I would catch myself thinking, was this a mistake? Like, I don't have the energy for it. And it wasn't, because this is exactly where I was meant to be. It was exactly the supplements I was supposed to take. It got me off of an antidepressant. That's not something that happens for everyone, but it did for me. It just balanced my life and I feel amazing. And I got to share it with all of my patients and improve their gut health, and not only getting their outcomes to be exactly what they were hoping for, but to actually feel better. So that's the beauty of 3. It's something that you can take and it feels amazing while you do it. Like, what other vitamin company out there? Like, you take something, you actually feel better. So I'm so excited to be here, and I'm going to introduce Dr. Stephanie Mohan. I want to bring her on to share her expertise. We're going to kind of go back and forth, have a great conversation. Her and I have been, I've worked for her, right? I worked with her and she led me down this amazing path to just wanting more for my patients. I watched her chairside, and she is absolutely fantastic with people. Her heart is there. She knows about sleep. She knows about implants. She's done ortho. She's done all these amazing things. So welcome, Dr. Stephanie Mohan.
Hey, good to see you.
Yeah, how are you?
Great. It's it's good evening, good morning, wherever you may be. So welcome everybody. We're in lots of different time zones. So welcome wherever you are and whatever time it is.
Yeah, so I know, like, part of our journey together was discovering 3, but I am just kind of curious about your story a little bit, and
Yeah.
what made you say yes to 3 instead of other things.
Well, my story is really interesting because I've been taking supplements for a really long time, and I've had major success with certain supplements in certain situations. I had a thyroid issue that reversed with amino acid supplements. So I learned about kind of, the power of supplements about 20 years ago. This was about 20 years ago now, which is crazy. And so I've always sort of like I've always known that I needed to supplement because I just didn't want to take those medications, and I really wanted to be as natural as possible and just really be smart about what I was putting in my body. And so of course, like then I had gravitated toward people that kind of thought the same things and really were thinking the same way, right? And what's really interesting is that, dentistry as a whole, I've been a dentist for 28 years, and dentistry as a whole is not typically very holistic, but is a huge growing number of us that really understand. We do want to be very careful with the materials that we use and the things that we, are just the products that we're using and things, and really like our environment. We just know that that's so important. And so there's a really growing trend in dentistry, and Sarah and I have always kind of been on the same page. But same exact thing as you, Sarah. From a pretty young age, I didn't feel well, and so I went looking for answers and looking. I mean, you just like, and when people tell you like, yeah, that's just, it's just you have kids, that's how you're gonna feel, or you're, I mean, I mean, you're in your 30s, you shouldn't feel terrible in your 30s. I mean, or at least I hope that's not the case for most people. And so now I'm in my 50s, and I feel great, and supplements I know are a huge part of that. And so I've surrounded myself with the same types of people. And so when you came to me, I'll never forget that day. You came to me and you said, I think we need to do better for our patients. We need to find something that helps them with their inflammatory issues and what they have going on. And let's find something, basically, is what you said. I mean, you did kind of wanted to make something, develop something, but what we realized is that let's go ask our smart friends that we already have, and let's find out how we can just find something that helps our patients with some of their issues that they're having. And so, yeah, and so that's where you and I came together to really come into this company. And we're so glad we did. I mean, the people are just, I mean, I'll say this, hopefully the rest of my life. I mean, they're just incredible.
Yes, I love that. So what's interesting too is that we started this as a journey for our patients, but found that it was blessing our lives
Yeah.
totally.
Right,
So that's,
exactly.
but
Yeah, originally I said, well, I'll take the products because I'm a supplement, gal anyway. I'll take the products, and then let me see how, what I think. Let me see what this really, and for me, I mean, I'm in an age where a lot of women struggle with sleep, and my sleep has improved dramatically on these products. My mood has improved dramatically on these products. I mean, just kind of my overall energy. I start my day with
yes.
putting great stuff in my body, and just have that natural energy that comes with some of that. So it's been, you're right, it's been such a blessing for us and for our patients. Yeah.
So before we dive in to some of the dental diseases and things that we see, I want to know a little bit about how your family reacted to some of this
Yeah.
as well. I know
Yeah.
your husband is a general surgeon, and so sometimes
Yes.
Western medicine, right, which is
Yes.
people can be a little skeptical.
Yes. Yeah, my husband he's a skeptic. He is actually that guy that's very skeptical. Of course, when we go to school, we believe those authorities and those people that tell us things. And I was really fortunate. I had kind of people around me and mentors that just questioned some things that were really, really good. And again, I mean, my husband and I have been married for stay young, and we want to stay vital and vibrant, and we want to feel really good. I mean, we were both pretty athletic. When we're younger, we have very athletic kids. I mean, my kids did triathlons, and they did, they swam and they ran and they did all of these things. And so my husband and I started taking these because we've been taking some other things, and we decided, let's try these. Everything that I understand about this, all the homework that I've done, tells me that these might be better than what we've been taking. And I want to see if that's the case. And my husband tends to have a lot of joint pain, and he's a surgeon, but he has some hand pain occasionally as well. And pretty quickly after we started, I would say within a couple of months after starting to take the three products, that his joint pain really went away. And so he's a pretty big believer. Getting people to do stuff every day, take that stuff every day, that's always a challenge. But and then we have a son that is a runner, and he takes these every single day. He's so methodical about it, and he's just such a great, like, kind of a testament to just being like really knowing that he feels better. He's 17 years old, and he runs about 50 miles a week, but he takes these every day. He takes all the products every day. And so, yeah, my family and all of my kids, I have 4 kids, and all of my kids take them, even though they're out on their own, and they're in school and college and grad school, and they're taking them as well. So we're a very, very big three family. We love it. And I'm my own best customer sometimes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that said, like knowing people, if your family they want to take it, it's because they feel the difference. And so compliance, right? Patience
Yes.
goes way, we can ask patients all day, hey, Will you use this toothpaste? Will you brush
Yes.
this much a day? Will you do this? And a lot of them do change.
Yeah.
Sometimes those habits are really, really hard to
Yeah.
change until you find something that makes them feel fantastic, right?
Right.
And so when it comes to, so just a little bit, like we can transition into gum disease here.
Yeah.
When we talk about gum disease, as a hygienist, I recommended brushing and flossing, and I'd recommend a prophy, which is like a
Yeah.
healthy cleaning, and I'd recommend scaling and root planing, which is when you've got some gum disease or some advanced gum disease, when you're looking at future tooth loss, it's really serious. And over the years of being a dental hygienist, watching patients just heal for a little bit and then it comes back. And I tell them, the goal is really just to stabilize it. It's never going to go away. I just got so sick of that. And
Yeah.
I'm like, we have to do something more.
Yeah.
And all the research now is showing that a lot of gum disease is the way that our body responds to the bacteria. So it's our host response, right? And 80% of our immunity comes from our gut. And so with these studies coming out with the gut link and perio, it only made sense to
Yeah.
start in the gut health. So finding these has been fantastic. And so trends for you, what have you seen over the years with treating perio, treating
Right.
like
Right.
all of those things?
Well, and so, I mean, I think what's really great is that we can stop blaming the patient. You
Yeah,
know, I mean, we're giving them better tools and better products and better things now that we can say, because I mean, our patients were brushing and flossing. I mean, they're really patients that really cared and they really listened to us and they really did what we wanted them to do. They were brushing and flossing, but they were still having problems. Their gums were still bleeding. I mean, I was telling Sarah, when Sarah and I were chatting about this one time, and I said, we're so fortunate with inflammation in the mouth. When there's inflammation present, their gums bleed. And so we know when there's inflammation present, it's very apparent, it's very obvious. And we don't have to do much to get their gums to bleed. And they're just very inflamed, right? And we don't make their gums bleed. Their gums are bleeding, right? Because our healthy patients, you do anything to them and their gums won't bleed, right? So I mean, we know for a fact that we're not causing their gums to bleed, right? But and we never thought that. But what we found is that there's just, we're understanding that the mouth is the beginning of the gut. And the mouth is where, we're always going to have bacteria there. It's some of it's very healthy bacteria and some of it's very unhealthy bacteria. And so the gut begins with the mouth and what we put in our bodies. And so we need to pay very, very close attention to what we're putting in our bodies. And we know that we live in a more toxic environment than we've ever lived in. And I think back to when I was a kid and we just ate, our farm produce. And I mean, not like directly from the farm, but all of our produce was very healthy. We didn't need organic produce because all of our produce was organic, right? And we didn't have to because we weren't using the chemicals and we weren't doing the things to our crops that we do now. And so we're really, really fortunate to have these, extra things that we can do. I mean, and in essence, in a perfect world, we wouldn't need anything extra. We would just need our food. But we know that that's not the case anymore.
right. And we've known forever what types of vitamins and nutrition can help with these things, but to
Right.
get patients to change that diet. And a lot of them are, the list, you can look it up. What helps with gum disease? It's omega-3, it's
Yeah.
vitamin D, it's vitamin C, it's CoQ10. And
Yeah.
so when we are discussing products with patients, we're going to Vitalite. It's that amazing little packet. It's got all of your pre, pro, and postbiotics in there, your vitamin D, and the absorption levels on these cannot be beat. And that is why our patients stick with them and they're feeling so much better. And then the other one that I love is the Revive, right? Our little magic beans that we call them, because this is all about putting water to the fire of inflammation. We've got that amazing superoxide study that decreases inflammation. I think it's by 36%. And when gum disease is the number one inflammatory disease in the United States, I want to put this in everyone's hand.
Yeah.
This is amazing. And then
Yeah.
that
80%, 80% of the population, right, has some form of gum disease.
I honestly think it's closer to 90, like
Not
87
right. Wow.
now, whether it's
See,
ginger
I'm old school. I'm out of the loops there.
child. So I'm so happy if you're tuning in because 9 out of 10 people, this relates to you. And the other
Certainly somebody that you know and love is
yeah,
affected by this. Yeah.
suffering from this. And the beautiful part is that I love like the chair side part is that when you get to see those gums heal, I love thinking about what's happening within the rest of the body,
Yeah.
right? Like I get to do teeth and gums and make someone be able to save their teeth for a lifetime. But wow, I love being able to affect them on a whole different level.
Yeah.
But the other,
Right. We have just that whole extra level, love extra layer that we can help people with. It's so great.
yeah, the other fun part, I'm a science girl, Dr.
Yeah.
Mohan. So
I know.
the other part, so this Eternal, I didn't always do this at the beginning. I didn't recommend it, but now I am thinking this is even more important than anything else, like Vitality,
Yeah.
Revive, one. But we have these epigenetic studies, and we have this gene, and it's an inflammatory marker, right? It's the IL-6, and
Yes.
that is down regulated by 12, I think it's 1,250%. I mean, that is huge.
That's amazing.
So just down one of these little rip and sip things and your gum disease. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the glutathione, we know that people are getting IV glutathione and they're paying a bundle for that. And they just want to feel better. They want the protection of the antioxidant and they want some of that to make sure that they stay healthy. And I
Yeah.
mean, I've been to IV clinics before and they're treating cancer patients, right? So we have some of the same things, the same things that they're putting into people IV, and we have them at our fingertips with the three products.
Yes, I love that. Okay, so I also would love for you to tell everyone a little bit about how you got involved with sleep in dentistry.
Yeah.
And yeah, because you've got a good story with that.
I do. I have a good story. So I have always kind of wondered about sleep since I was fairly young. I always kind of felt like I couldn't get enough sleep. Like I didn't really wake up feeling rested, and I didn't really understand that that was the point of sleeping is to wake up feeling rested because I never really woke up feeling rested, really since I was about a teenager. And I think sometimes people go through hormonal changes and some things as teenagers, and so we accept some of those things as normal when it's going to sleep at night and waking up after a really good, amount of time, 8 hours or so, and not feeling rested is not normal, folks. Just flat out not normal, right? You should feel refreshed. You should feel ready to go. Should be ready to get out of the bed in the morning. And like, you should be ready to go for your day and you should feel good. And I never did. I got up because I was supposed to get up. And I got up because I knew that that was required from my life. And especially, when I went to school, I went to work, I had kids. I mean, I had reasons to get up, which is great. We should get up. It's good. But I really just didn't know that sleep was supposed to be that restorative and that good. And so about 9 years ago, my dad passed away suddenly, and he woke up in the morning, had a massive heart attack. And first thing in the morning, I mean, I got the call like 7 something in the morning. And so on a Sunday morning, and he was retired, he wasn't getting up to go to work or anything like that. And he passed away very suddenly. And I started to put pieces together. And what I realized is that my dad would come to my house and he'd hang out with our family, and then he would take a nap sitting up in one of my living room chairs, and he would snore sitting up. And snoring is really just a restriction of the air going into your airway, right? And so what that means is that if you're sitting up, what happens to that restriction when you're laying down? It constricts even more. And so what I realized is that sleep apnea contribute. My dad was only 71 years old. He was super healthy. He got up and moved, a ton every day. He was a super healthy guy. And so what I realized is that we really need to dive a lot deeper and go deeper into this. And so we actually opened a sleep center, and we do screen patients for sleep. We do sleep testing. We actually do home sleep testing. We don't have people spend the night because people don't want to spend the night in a sleep center. They want to sleep in their own bed. But so we do home testing, and then we do dental sleep appliances to help people to hold the airway open while they're sleeping so that they don't have apnea is a no breath for at least 10 seconds at night. And what they call a hypopnea is a low breath for that same amount of time. So you need to breathe at least every 10 seconds at night. That's six a minute. And so ultimately, I just became really passionate about sleep. And what's really amazing is that since I started taking, and I alluded to this, that I'm at an age where a lot of women don't sleep very well, and I was one of them. And even though I was kind of doing all of the right things, I still was just still struggling with this. And by the way, once I did realize like the feeling of waking up refreshed and waking up feeling rested, I was like, oh, this is how people feel. This is amazing. But I felt even better, and Vitalite and now Visage. Sarah, this stuff is incredible. I mean, what is going on?
I know. So it's funny because I didn't realize, and maybe I just didn't hear Dr. Dan at the launch, but I didn't realize it was going to affect my sleep so much. I actually,
So much.
husband, he doesn't sleep very well, but I had my husband put it on his face before he went to bed. He woke up the next day, kind of went about his day. And then before it was time for bed again, he goes, "Where is that stuff for my face?" I said, "Oh, okay, I'll get you some." He goes, "I had the best sleep of my entire life last night." I said, "What?" He goes, "I don't know what's in that magic stuff, but it was
I can vouch that her husband is not a guy to sit around and exaggerate either. He's not that guy.
no." So that's a beautiful thing. Like I love that you dive into
Yeah.
sleep, and but it's really cool because there's so many pieces to our health, right? Sometimes
Yes.
it's treating the airway, it's
Yes.
treating your brain, it's treating the nutrition, it's
Yeah.
full circle with so many things, just
Yeah.
like dentistry with other things. Like we talk nutrition, we're going to tell
Right.
people how to eat, exercise, all of that, but adding in the supplements to fill in all of those gaps that we're missing is just been a beautiful thing for our patients.
And
So,
to feel really confident that we're giving people something that we know is good for them, we know is going to help them, we know is going to fill in those gaps. That's the part that's so fun. I mean, we just know that they're going to get better in the ways that they need to. I mean, you and I have our own stories, everybody else has their own stories too, but we just know that it's going to be, for most people, they're going to actually feel it.
yeah. Well, and so the last thing that I really want to talk about and dive into, there's a couple things, but I think the big one right now is at one of your practices, you've got a great biological dentist, and she does a lot of safe amalgam removal. So the amalgams that contain mercury, all of that,
Yeah.
uh, and she's incorporating free supplements. Can you tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
that process?
Yeah. So we see patients that want to have a holistic dental experience, and they have um, bigger concerns, right? I mean, some patients do have cancer, some patients do have autoimmune diseases, some patients just really are just struggling in general, and they want that variable taken care of. If they have those mercury fillings in their mouth, they want them out. And that's a legitimate choice, right? We never tell anybody you have to have these out. These are dangerous. These are bad for you. They come to us and they say, I want them out. And so so we do that service, but we know that as we're taking the mercury out, it can get into their system. I mean, we take huge precautions so that it doesn't get into people's systems, but we just want to make sure that we're protecting people. I mean, they're on oxygen. There's a high suction evacuation, like a big one. We call it the elephant nose. It sits right here. And so like that gets all of those fumes and everything out. But there's a possibility that they're still going to be exposed as these things are being taken out of their bodies. And so we give them Purify to make sure that they detox properly after these procedures. And it's amazing. And we also, of course, I mean, we're always going to recommend Revive and Vitalite on top of that. But the Purify is kind of a non-negotiable with that. And patients want it. They want to make sure that some people will have a very extreme reaction if they have those fillings taken out without the extra precautions. And so it's very important to us that we do it well and correctly.
Yes. When I love the Purify because there's so many people that try to do a detox,
Yeah,
and we all know that not all detoxes are created equal. There's lots of pills out there. There's ways to do
right,
it. But unless you've got a really great binder, which our Purify does, to pull out those things, it really just shifts them around. So it's just an added protection. So
right.
it's,
Yeah,
but
and we feel great about the fact that we have such a great product to help protect our patients for that too. It's just part of our protocol. Like you will be getting Purify when you have that procedure done.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, and last thing, before we bring our guests on, we were talking earlier, you and I, Dr. Mohan, about just healthcare in general, how this is so amazing that it's being introduced into dentistry. I mean,
Right.
I think more people are going to be seeing it when they go to the chiropractor. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got quite a few MDs, right? Our scientific advisory board, like this is going to be
Yeah.
something that you're going to see more and more and more of. And so
Right.
just start something with some proactive health. If whoever, invited you here, um, I hope it's just a blessing for you to hear this. And we're going to hear. So thank you, Dr. Mohan. Thank you so much for
Oh,
all of your expertise and yeah, for your friendship over the years. This is fun.
yeah, it's very mutual, Sarah.
Yeah. So that being said, we're going to bring on our first guest. We've got three lovely guests who've had some great experiences with three. And so I'm going to bring on Carrie. She is from Wisconsin, and you can turn your camera on there, Carrie, if you'd like. Hi, how are
Hi, I'm great. How are you? Well, you're obviously good.
you? Excited. I'm excited to have you. So, yeah, just tell us a little bit about your story and yeah, what your results have been.
Yeah, so I started on all six of the products in March, and I had my first dental appointment in August. So I had been on the products for about 5 months, let's say, at that point. And I I always struggled with my gums bleeding and having inflammation, and no matter what I did, um, it just never. I could never. I could never, get. I could never make that stop, no matter how much I brushed and flossed, and so I started to notice when I would floss after about 4 months that my gums weren't bleeding. Um, at all anymore. So by the time I had that dental appointment, I was actually kind of excited to go because I was I wanted to hear what my hygienist was going to say about that because I was excited. So when I got there, I we talked a little bit like we always do, and I told her that I had started taking these supplements. And so we chatted a little bit about it, and she started cleaning my teeth. And the first thing I noticed, the part that I hate the most is when you do the scraping of the around the gums to get rid of the plaque. I would always close my eyes and squinch up my face because it did kind of hurt. Um, and as she started to do that, instead of closing my eyes kind of got a little big because it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt, and I almost had to pinch myself. Like I really couldn't believe that this wasn't hurting after years and years of not enjoying that part of my dental appointment. And I actually made her stop, and she said, I said, is something wrong? Am I hurting you? I'm like, no, that's the problem. You're not. For the first time, you're not hurting me. And like, not that you are hurting me. It's the first time that my mouth wasn't hurting. Um, and so I, yeah, I cannot thank you all and three enough for giving me that blessing that I won't be worrying about going to the dentist anymore, and I won't have these problems. And the other thing she did say is that I actually have less plaque this time around also. So I'm
Wow.
anxious to see what my next appointment's going to bring.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much, Carrie. Thank you for sharing. You know what? I hope there's hygienists listening because I'm going to say this. Like, I've had many patients in the past where I thought, there's no way they're brushing and flossing, right? Before I knew all of this. Because they teach us the basics, which we need to know. But over time with experience, we learn so much. And so I bet you blew the mind of your dental hygienist that day. Like, which is so fun because I just hope it keeps catching on. And yeah, and thank you so much for sharing. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you.
I'm happy you're feeling good.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. Okay, so our next guest, we have Kathy and her daughter Anna from Wisconsin as well. It's kind of funny. We got two Iowans and two, how do you say, Wisconsinites?
Yes,
Wisconsinites.
Wisconsinites. Yep.
So thank you for joining us. I can't wait to hear what you ladies have to say.
Well, thanks for having us. And I'm super excited to share actually, because I've literally told this story probably 100 times. And I'm like, now I can tell more people. So I am a mom of 6 and a grandma of 9. And I've taken these products for over a year. I take all 6 products. And my dental story, I have a lot of stories, but my dental story is that all of my daughters have home births. Okay. So I was at one of my daughter's houses for an entire month because when they have home births, I'm the caregiver for the other kids and for the new baby and for the mom and all that. So I was there for a month and I felt like I was back in motherhood, taking care of all the kids, cooking, all the things. And you know, when you're a mom, you don't take care of your teeth. And so I was not taking care of my teeth at all, like I was supposed to, was skipping brushing, definitely not flossing, like all the things that I was bad at when I was a mom of 6 kids. So anyway, had my dentist appointment after that month of being not a good teeth cleaner. And I was kind of worried about it. And you know that thing, well, you know, but people, that thing where they stick the probe up in your gums to like measure the pockets between the gums and the teeth, I guess is what you're doing. It's not a fun experience. Well, I noticed that it didn't hurt as much. And afterwards, I was like, okay, I was already giving excuses. I'm like, okay, my daughter had a baby. I was back in motherhood, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so it's probably, I was giving her all the excuses. I'm like, it's probably not as good as it's supposed to be. And she's like, actually, it's better than it was last time. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I'm like, I said to her, I'm like, it has to be the supplements. And she's like, oh, what supplements? And that opened a whole thing. And now she actually she just ordered the supplements. So,
Awesome.
yeah. So anyway, I want my daughter to share because a couple weeks later, she had her appointment with a different hygienist, but the same dental office. And on her way home, she called me. She's like, Mom, you're not going to believe this. So then she can share this part.
Yeah. So actually, a little background story. My dentist appointment had to get moved up 2 weeks. And normally 2 weeks before, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start flossing. I'm gonna start doing all the things they tell me. Because I just forget. It's horrible. So it got moved up 2 weeks. I'm driving there. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be horrible. I have my full, like, they're gonna check everything today. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be embarrassing. And so she's poking around, and I'm like, okay, she is going gentle on me today. She's not poking me hard at all. And then she's like, Anna, she pats me on the back. She goes, I am so proud of you. Like, okay, that is not what I expected to hear. She goes, what are you doing differently? And immediately I was like, oh, no way. Because mom had told me this story a couple weeks before, and I was like, there's no way, you know? And so then I hear this. I'm like, well, actually, I'm taking these products. And so told her a little bit more about it. And then a little bit later, she brings out the floss. I'm like, okay, well, now they're going to bleed for sure. They don't bleed. I asked her, she said, they look so good. And then the doctor came in, and even the dental hygienist goes, Anna has been taking these products and her gums are amazing. So, oh, and then the doctor said, oh, we do not give compliments out like that lightly. So they were both very, very impressed. And I left, yeah, not in pain, which is very rare.
Yeah, so for us to both get the same just report,
Yeah.
it was telling us that, because we're both on the products and our gut apparently is getting better. And I wanted to also add to that, bloating is pretty much gone. I'm the type of person who I wake up fine, but then as the day goes on, I'm bloated at the end of the day every day. This was me every day. Now, after taking these products, I am rarely, if ever, bloated. So that's gone away. The other thing that's super cool, and this is gut health and immune and all the things. So my 9 grandkids, cough on me, spit on me, snot on me, puke on me, like all the things. And I don't try to stay away from them because I can't, because they're too cute and their chubby cheeks are too cute. So since starting these products, there's 2 days that I felt like I was getting sick, and I took double immune, and the next day I woke up fine. So basically, since starting this, I have not gotten sick, and I do not stay away from germs. So that's been amazing. And I wanted Anna to just share one other thing if we have time.
About what?
About
Which testimony?
Yeah, which testimony, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I play a lot of volleyball. When I was really starting to get back into it, I played in high school, and now I'm starting to play a lot again. My knees could not keep up. I'm like, oh my goodness. And so I thought I was gonna have to back up from volleyball. And mom's over here, you need to start taking these products. I'm like, I'd rather spend my money on clothes. But anyway, so I started taking them, and suddenly I'm not counting the stairs going down from my apartment building. And yeah, and I mean, I barely have trouble with my knees. I will sometimes if I play tournaments 3 days in a row or whatever. But yeah, it completely healed my knees. I could not lift anymore. I was like, do I lift or do I play volleyball? I have to choose one or the other because I couldn't do both. So it completely healed my knees. And then even when I play volleyball, my endurance is up, and I take the products during volleyball. So yeah, I'm telling everyone's like, well, she can just keep up because she has those products. I'm like, you can have it too. But of course, they don't want to listen to me yet.
So yeah, we love them. We love them. It's been a life changer. And apparently a gut and gum changer.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. I absolutely love all of your stories. And thank you so much for talking about immune. So I wish I had another hour to talk about how immune does this and collagen and all of these things, because I mean, Dr. Mohan, you and I know collagen is huge for implant placement. And the immune itself, when 80% of our immunity comes from the gut, right? We need immune. This is amazing. It's got that quorum sensing that prevents all that bad bacteria from piling up, and it's just incredible stuff. So thank you so much for sharing all of your stories. Yeah, thank you for joining us. I think I'll have everybody come back on, and we will wrap it up tonight. I really appreciate everybody tuning in to Wellness Wednesday. Thank you, Dr. Mohan, for being our special guest. And thank you to all of you for sharing your stories. Please get back to whoever invited you here and just tell them kind of where you stand. Tell them what your interest level is. Tell them about your health. Open up and just let us know. We are here to help in every way, shape, and form. So thank you so much.